Hello there, and welcome to another edition of Paydirt Remote. My name's Mark Andrews, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Australian Minister for Resources, the Honourable Keith Pitt. Minister Pitt's just taken office not too long ago, and he's been faced with a pandemic to deal with straight away. Minister Pitt, how have you seen the industry's reaction to this current global health crisis?
Industry's response has been absolutely magnificent, to be honest. It's been great work by not only companies, but unions, workers and others, and it's been great working closely with my ministerial counterparts. Everyone's put their politics behind them and left at the door and done what was necessary to ensure that this great sector keeps doing what it's always done, supporting the Australian economy and Australian jobs.
In terms of getting the industry back on its feet, what's going to be the most important aspect of making sure operations are performing at their optimum levels once again and boots are back on the ground in the exploration field?
Well, firstly, it's about the health and safety of every worker and every individual, and we need to make sure that we meet all of the criteria to make sure they're safe. But secondly, it's about people. It's about ensuring we train as many Australians as we need. It's about ensuring that they recognise there's a great opportunity in the resources sector, and if you want to earn good money, get yourself a job in the sector, get a traineeship or an apprenticeship, and we need to make sure those are available.
Just in terms of how industry has managed the current situation, a few companies have had to extend their rosters and go back to longer rotations. How much of an emphasis are you going to put on some of these companies to ensure that mental health and fatigue issues are managed in the right vein?
Well, I think that's something the companies are already working with very closely. Extending swings and people literally had to drop everything and shift to try and meet some of the state border crossing criteria. And I'm very thankful for the workforce for what they've done, how involved they've been, and what they've done, because they've done what was necessary. Let's be frank. We needed the sector to keep going. We need them to be in their job. We need to be selling our products right around the world. Can you imagine what would happen if Australian coal, for example, wasn't being provided to some of these countries to run their power stations? It would be absolute anarchy, and I think we are doing our part, not only locally, but internationally.
And in terms of exploration, we've got a couple of key exploration government-backed programs ending tenure in the next financial year or so. What kind of commitments can that side of mining expect from government in the coming years?
Well, the budget will be in October. I'm certainly looking forward to putting up some submissions for the industry, especially around exploration. We know when cash is tight, that's a sector which really struggles, and I think there's opportunities for government to get more involved in exploration, because exploration is the future of the industry.
And we've had Australia in itself and the US, the critical mineral strategy was just about to take flight before the pandemic hit, but it seems as though the partnerships had a recent win with Linus water contract in Texas. How do you see the engagement with the US and the critical mineral strategy at this point in time?
Well, the Critical Minerals Facilitation Office has been working very closely with the US and, of course, other countries. And, success is earned, as they say. So I think I'm very thankful to Secretary Ross for his personal engagement, which I'm sure will continue. We are looking for opportunities in different strands for the critical mineral sector, because quite simply, we need to ensure that that trade opportunity is not limited to just one location.
I know it's a bit hard to predict, but when do you expect you might be able to get your boots on the ground to see Secretary Ross to expand on the relationship?
My office is working very closely with Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and others, and I'm sure we'll do something there in the near future. But it is one strand of the sector, but very pleased that fundamentals are still holding up.
And heading into 2020, did you think you'd be sitting in this seat talking about this situation right now?
If I had a crystal ball, I'd be a multi-millionaire. Unfortunately, you just have to deal with the cards that you're dealt. I mean, this has been a very difficult situation. The resources sector has, as I said earlier, their response has been absolutely magnificent. They've done what was necessary. People have done things they wouldn't usually do to make sure we can keep the sector running and operational. And I'm very thankful for the work that they've done. But once again, If you're in these jobs, you just do what you have to.
I, for one, didn't think I'd have the opportunity to not only get a one-on-one interview with one Australian Resources Minister this year, but you're the second Australian Resources Minister I've interviewed this year. And I didn't think I'd be doing it in board shorts, but it's certainly been a learning curve for all of us. What's the greatest learning out of this situation that springs to mind for you?
I think it's just the fact that when you find yourself in challenging circumstances, there is always a way to deal with it. The Australian people are incredibly resilient. They're accepting of the challenges that occur across their life. It's not just in the current pandemic. Their response has been absolutely wonderful. And it never ceases to surprise me just what people can do when they have to.
And if there was one thing that you would like to tell people out there in the mining sector and more broadly, what would it be at this point in time?
Yeah, you've done a fantastic job. Don't stop. We all know it's tough, and there's been significant change in a very short period of time. But we will come out of this. There will be even greater opportunities on the other side of the corona pandemic, and we need everyone to be involved for our nation to be successful. And fundamentally, what you are doing is in the national interest.
Minister Pitt, thank you very much for your time, and we wish you all the best, and we look forward to hosting you on Paydirt TV once again. Thank you.
It's great to be with you. Great to be with you. Great to be with your viewers.